It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
In the home stretch here. Now, let's go ahead and because I guess this is the last week of the General Assembly, so we're told. They're going to adjourn, and then they'll have a cooling off period. We can all try to, recover, look at our wallets, maybe try to work a little harder so we can make up all the money that they've taken from us. Then they'll come back in May. But anyway, because this is the last week, we need to go to Josh Waters. Josh is on the phone with us right now. Josh, how are you this morning, sir?
Hey, Paul, I'm pretty good. I'm probably like you, most people. I'm excited. This is the last week of the session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I am as well. But I the whiteboard today says, and the rest of the week, what's the number? Because I want to know from the folks out there, and they can text us or they can call us or leave us voice messages or whatever. I want to know from the folks out there what they think the final number will be when it comes to the net tax increase on the people of Arkansas after the legislature is adjourned. And just go ahead. I mean, just, throw it out there. There's plenty of articles. Do the math. I'm just curious. Eventually, we're going to put out a number, I'm sure. But, Josh, when it comes to economic issues, it has been kind of a bumpy session, to say the least.
Yeah, Paul, I wrote down a list last week and just wanted to read off of that, some good, some bad, just kind of highlights of the session that, we'll put numbers to later. But, your gas bill went up this session. Your phone bill went up this session. Your water bill might be going up this session. Your internet purchases bill went up this session. Cigarette bill went up a little, not as much as what could have been. The half-cent sales tax is going to be voted on. If that goes through, you're going to see that increased sales tax rate. They rejected lower used car tax bill. Now, there was some good. It was a good income tax bill this session. $97 million income tax for top earners in the state, bringing that down 1%. There's improvement on campus free speech. There's improved free speech on campus. Scope of practice bills. Most of those were killed. There's increased spending, $124 million. The Medicaid extension work requirement was struck down, but that wasn't changed. The age to smoke was raised. There's some really good pro-life bills passed, so that was good. Yeah. And then there's a bill to address term limits. And so those are kind of some of the highlights I had written down of the session. So a lot of big issues. And then, of course, the transformation bill was the biggest bill of the session. And that kind of is yet to be seen exactly how that plans out in overall savings. But,
yeah.
Paul, those were some of the very biggest issues of this session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that transformation bill, I think, is a 2,000-page bill, so it's very complicated. I know they worked the entire session on that. And you mentioned something just now, and I was reading this in the paper this morning, $120 million spending increase. This goes right along with the average. A little bit. I mean, you've had, since Governor Hutchinson's been in office, spending increases of $133 million, $140, $160, $170. Now another $124 million. It's pretty frustrating,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're seeing. This under these last 8 fiscal years under this governor, we're on pace to increase spending by over $1 billion still. So we'll see where that comes out. But that is the RSA that the legislature will be voting on today on the House and Senate floor as they wrap things up this week. $124 million increase, and that's just state general revenue. There's a lot of different special revenues that are spent, and there's a ton of federal money. So when you combine all that, the state revenue that they're voting on is about $5.7 billion. And then we combine all the taxpayer money, we're looking at $25 billion total to run the state of Arkansas.
Wow. I mean, it's a gargantuan amount of money. All right, well, so let's get to the scorecard. This is the last scorecard, unless, something happens unforeseen. Week number 12. There's only one bill on it. Tell us about it, Josh.
Yeah, so Session's wrapping up, just one bill this week, and it's the third proposed constitutional amendment. So every legislative session, the General Assembly, the legislators, they're allowed to send out and propose 3 constitutional amendments. This is their third one. The ones they've already put out that will be on the general election ballot are one, extension of the half-cent sales tax, and then the second is the term limits bill. And this is the third one. And basically, Paul, the best way to understand this is it's going to be making it harder on citizens of the state to pass initiatives to amend the Arkansas Constitution. So right now, people can go out there and get signatures, and they have to get a majority of signatures from 15 of Arkansas 75 counties, and a total number overall, but 15 of 75 counties have to have that majority number. This takes that measure to 45 of the 75 counties. It also makes people turn in these initiatives sooner, and there's no cure period. So previously, what a lot of people have seen is, you'll turn in 100,000 signatures, or whatever the number is, and then for whatever reason, a government act or Secretary of State in the past has struck and said, no, these signatures are no good. The way you got the signatures here are no good. These are not actual residents of the state, whatever the reason is. So they'll strike 20,000. But if they hit that minimum threshold, they got some additional time. So that's going away. So at the end of the day, this measure really makes it harder for citizens to amend the Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, and I was mentioning earlier the concept that a lot of these big these big money interests that come in here, they've got enough money to make sure all 75, they get signatures from all 75 counties now anyway. So, your grassroots person, your grassroots movement, that's what this is going to hurt. It's going to hurt the people that don't have big money but just want to use populist issues. It's going to make it a lot harder for them.
Yeah, and I think most people would agree, Paul, it should be hard to amend the Constitution, right?
Right.
But when we look at what's happening with this bill, it's making it harder on the citizens' process to amend. But the legislative process, I think that there is a provision in the bill that says instead of a simple majority vote to get something on the ballot, it would take 3/5. But it does not decrease the number of ballot measures the legislature gets to send out. They can still send out 3 each session. And a big part of that is people will have to bring a lawsuit to challenge a citizens initiative by April 15th of the election year. And there's nothing addressed in challenging, and you can't really challenge. There's no real way to challenge a legislature proposed amendment. And so, Paul, it is what it is. It's probably a good thing in theory to say, hey, we're going to make it hard to change the Constitution. But this just makes it much, much harder for citizen-led initiatives. And to your point, people who have a lot of money, they're going to be able to hire the people to come in. It basically shuts the door on, if you just want, to form a committee to, whatever the issue is, form a committee, citizen-led, and try to go through this process, it's going to become a lot more expensive, a lot harder process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be one thing if it attempted to fix some of the problems that they say, but I just don't think it's gonna, it's not really gonna fix. I think if you're upset that medical marijuana got put on there, and then the casinos got put on there, written into the Constitution, casinos. If you're upset about that, I don't see how this is going to stop that from happening. Just my opinion. This solution is not going to stop that, but. Anyway, Josh Waters, it's always great to have you on, sir. And I look forward to having you back on. We'll do the impression of the session. We're going to start those here in the coming months. And anyway, it's always great to have you, sir.
All right, well, thanks.
All right, Josh Waters, everybody.